and welcome to my talk at the ITC Think Global Conference 2021, Patents, the Pandemic and You. Thanks so much to the organizers for inviting me, and thank you so much for attending this talk. This is a bit about me. I'm Dr. Devorah Graeser. I'm the CEO and founder of KISSPatent and KISSPlatform. KISSPatent is a full-service patent company focused on filing directly in the US and Israel and through associates all over the world. In terms of technology, our main areas are AI, blockchain, and where software, hardware, medical device intersect with healthcare. KISSPlatform is our own startup. We are doing AI-powered agile competitive intelligence. So you put your idea into our platform and it will return to you relevant patents and competitors. So no keyword search, only semantic or natural language search. So I'm a USPTO registered patent agent, and I have been one since 1996. What that means, for those of you not familiar with the US system, is although I'm registered at the US Patent and Trademark Office, I am not an attorney at law, so I just do patents. I started programming when I was 16. I got my PhD in pharmacology, and then I went on to program for the Human Genome Project. Since then, I've worked with many companies of all sizes, small, medium, and large, and I have learned with them about how they can best benefit from a patent portfolio, particularly for those who are involved in international trade. This is just a quick disclaimer. No part of this presentation constitutes legal advice. No attorney-client or agent-client relationship is established by viewing this presentation. So what's really important in business and also for your industry is knowing where they're going. What you don't want is to be like these folks up here on the ice. They're fighting over a patch of ice where the puck is basically left. Now, there's a saying that you should always go where the puck is going to be, not where the puck is right now. And they have missed that, and so the puck has left, and they're fighting over ice which no longer may suit their business or industry goals. So, like I said, you want to go where the puck is going to be, and not where it was. That is true for industry and business, but it's also true for your patent portfolio. I have seen cases where folks establish a patent portfolio, then there are radical changes in their business or radical changes in their industry, and their patent portfolio doesn't keep up. So they basically moved on and the patent portfolio is stuck. That is not healthy, and that is one of the things I'm going to urge you to consider not to do today. So Akamai is a company that had enduring success through patents. And what's interesting about it is they're not involved in pharmacology or pharmaceuticals or biotech or even medical device. Nope, they're a software company. They are a CDN, content delivery network provider. They started way back in 1998 to overcome what people used to jokingly call, or not so jokingly, the World Wide Wait, WWW. It took so long to download images and heavy content that everyone's thinking, well, www, World Wide Web, it's not very useful. They came in with a solution, which is a CDN. From the beginning, they filed patents, and they had a very good sense of where their industry was going to go and how their own business would develop. So they filed those patents to block future competitors. Remember, these competitors didn't exist yet. Akamai was basically inventing the category. To protect their future business, which hadn't been developed yet, and to really establish themselves as a key, if not the key player in the industry, which didn't exist yet. As a result of their careful structuring of their patent portfolio, they have had many successful patent lawsuits, which they have won. They've even used them to do things like buy competitors at a reduced price due to a patent infringement lawsuit they brought against a competitor. Their earliest patents had a high value up to the day they expired, which is highly unusual outside of the medical area and even like outside the pharma area. And they did it by understanding where their business and their industry is going, not just in 5 to 10 years, but even in 20 years later, after they founded their company. And they were able to have prolonged patent success through a period of profound changes. So think about this. In 1998, we didn't really have social media. The World Wide Web was just getting its act together. There was email, but a lot of folks didn't use it or didn't have it. We certainly didn't have Slack or Snapchat or Facebook or any of these other great inventions that we now enjoy today. And yet they were able to understand a key aspect of how the internet would change all the way back in 1998 through the first dot-com boom and then the bust, and still going strong to today. So our world has profoundly changed, and there has been a great deal of suffering in the past year, which I don't want to minimize, but the changes are ongoing, and they will continue to change in the next year, but also, I would argue strongly, in the next 5 to 10 years. Many of these changes aren't going to go back. So for example, multiple work models and locations are likely to continue. Companies are likely to be working more remotely and possibly also more internationally. Physical aspects of world trade to continue to be fragile. Now, when I'm recording this, the boat that was stuck in the Suez Canal just managed to get itself unstuck through a great deal of effort. But it's just one aspect of ways in which world trade were fragile. And it's not just that we don't have enough shipping containers, although we don't, apparently, but it's also, think of the logistic chains. Think about just-in-time manufacturing in the time of COVID. What happened to folks who weren't stockpiling? Were they able to get enough products to be able to continue manufacturing? And to be honest, a lot of us are having a hard time finding toilet paper. And so just-in-time supply chains were threatened due to their complex, intricate ways of coming together. Will that change how manufacturing occurs in your business and your industry? And if you think it will, then you should definitely think about how that would change your patent portfolio. As a reminder, patents are a per country right. Automation is becoming increasingly popular. So it's the robots who may end up doing things. And by robots, I mean particularly robot process automation, which is a form of business process automation. So basically software. That's becoming increasingly popular. Who does business processes, where they're done, how they're done. That is all changing. That can affect patent enforcement and infringement, of course. And both international trade conflict and cooperation are on the rise. We have realized with things like the blockage of the Suez Canal, with the coronavirus, how interconnected we are, how important it is we maintain those global links, how much we truly value those global links, and how we want to continue them. But international trade conflict is also coming together quite a bit. Think of US-China and the trade tariffs, but also think about non-tariff barriers, which some countries may end up raising. That may affect also how manufacturing occurs, how selling occurs, just-in-time supply chains, and that may in turn have a big effect on your patent portfolio, because again, patents are a per country right, and they're also the right to block or exclude. So where would you want to block or exclude your competitors to protect your markets and your own manufacturing? So your industry in the next 5 to 10 years, get out your binoculars and let's go take a look. Maybe a telescope. Business model and market, there are likely to be profound changes across many industries. How you sell, who you're selling to, what does your market look like? How are they purchasing from you? Is it going to be through other companies? Are you going to be coming together for that? Will you be, perhaps you'll be an integrator, perhaps someone else will be an integrator. What about channel sales? These will have a profound effect on patents. Now, patents do protect technology, and yes, they are a legal document, but ultimately the most valuable patents protect your business model and your market. As those change, and as you predict them to change, you also need to change your patent strategy so that in 5 to 10 years, you don't find yourself without patents to protect your most valuable business models and markets. Geography. This can end up being a huge change. Where do you manufacture? Where do your competitors manufacture? Where's everyone selling and marketing? Could sales be occurring internationally? As patents are per country right, you have to keep that in mind when you're constructing your portfolio. So it's not just where you are now, right? Not just where the puck is now, to continue with the hockey analogy, but where it'll be in the next 5 to 10 years, geographically speaking. Technology-wise, huge changes on the horizon and already occurring. Some of these changes will render certain kinds of technology obsolete. As a result, you may need to update your patent portfolio as not only you change your technology, but also as the technologies used by industry change. Which brings me to another point, something you really have to understand well, what will occur in the next 5 to 10 years, if not the next 20 years. Your competitors' choices, you can't control them, but their choices will affect your ability to do business. They will affect your ability to maintain your business model and market. They'll affect the geographies that you can maintain a good competitive advantage in, and which ones you may be shut out of, or which new ones you'll come into. And they may even affect your access to technology and how you incorporate it. As patents are, again, the right to exclude, one point is you need to understand in the next 5 to 10 years, what do you think your competitors' choices are likely to be, and how can you block them with patents? Because patents are a right to exclude. If you can block your competitors' choices, you can reserve better choices for yourself, more aspects of your business model and market, more geographies, and you will have a competitive advantage, just like Akamai. So here's an example. This is where to file your patents competitor version. So now we're just going to look at your competitor. This has nothing to do with you. This is more to do with your competitor. Here's your competitor structure. They're headquartered in country A. They are manufacturing in countries B, C, and D. They are selling in countries B, C, D, and E. And they're doing research in country D. Where do you file your patents? Let's assume for the moment that they're manufacturing similar things in countries B, C, and D, and those things are similar to what you manufacture, and they sell similar to what you sell, right? So where would you want to file patents to be able to block this competitor? Well, it doesn't look like any business is happening in country A, right? No manufacturing, no selling. Perhaps it's not a big market for either selling, or perhaps it's also not a big location for manufacturing. So maybe you don't want to file in country A. Now you still might want to file in country A, maybe to have a deal, to do a deal with them as a partner, license arrangement, possibly to be acquired by them if you're a smaller company. But maybe country A then isn't so interesting. Well, let's look at countries B, C, and D. If you file patents in countries B, C, and D, you can actually block the ability then to sell in 4 countries. Why? Because they're manufacturing in 3 countries and selling into 4. If you file patents in countries where they're manufacturing, you are able to block them from making, using, selling, exporting, importing, etc. So they wouldn't be able to manufacture and they wouldn't be able to export from those countries. Now, if you don't have a patent in country E, but they're not manufacturing in country E, well, that could actually be a reasonable trade-off. But what will happen in the next 5 to 10 years? Maybe country E will suddenly become a huge market. Maybe country E will get mad at country B, and they'll decide that they're going to put up tariffs and non-tariff barriers, and it suddenly becomes very expensive to sell from country B into country E. Whoa, that could actually end up being a problem. Maybe then they'll start manufacturing in country E. And if you don't have a patent in country E, then you could be left out. You could be unable to block them because you won't have a patent in country E. And again, patents are a per country right. So it's important to think about how these geographical changes could have a big effect on what your competitors are likely to do, and hence where you could end up deciding to file your patents. Now we're going to talk about where to file your patents and also which ones to file. Now it's all about you. So first of all, which parts of your business are rocketing forward? And where are you selling into? Which countries are you selling into, and where are you manufacturing? How are your customers' needs changing? Maybe they will need different functions or different aspects of your products. Maybe your products have to be reconfigured. Maybe your business model will have to change. What about your employees? This could end up having an important effect. Perhaps you'll be working more remotely in more distributed areas. Maybe you'll decide based on that you'll be able to go into different markets, or maybe that won't be important at all. Finally, which strategic bets are you willing to place and for how much? So I realize that you don't necessarily want to have like a very mechanistic way of deciding how much of your patent portfolio should protect which parts of your business, but certainly your patent portfolio should protect the heart of your business, right? The part that if you lost that to a competitor would really devastate you. And if you're going to make a big strategic bet, in my opinion, you should also have a big chunk of your patent portfolio devoted to that strategic bet. So if you have a huge bet the farm situation and you're going to devote 80% of your resources to this one strategic bet and only 10% of your patents are covering that bet, I don't think that's a good idea. I think that could leave you exposed. What happens if your strategic bet takes off and you have almost no patents protecting it? Well, guess what's going to happen? Your competitors are going to end up copying you. So it's important to think of all these aspects. Think about yes, technology, but also yes, market, yes, geographic location, and yes, business model. How can your patent portfolio to be updated to protect all of these different aspects of your business, how it will change in the next 5 to 10 years, if not the next 20 years, but certainly at least the next 5 to 10 years, which I realize is challenging. Understanding where your competitors will be filing or where they'll be operating and where you'll be operating, it is a challenge, but it's very important in order to have a really valuable patent portfolio that can protect your business. You also want to avoid what I call the patent portfolio zombies. So what are the zombies? They're hopefully not going to eat your brain, but they can end up eating a lot of your money and also time if you're still answering office actions or otherwise handling the patent application before it's granted. So in any case, they will take your attention. So what is a zombie? So a zombie occurs when some major aspect of your business model, your market, your technology, legal aspects, geographical aspects, what your competitors are up to, some huge change has occurred in your business and your patent portfolio hasn't kept up. Business model market zombies are very dangerous because, as I mentioned before, patents are a business tool. They should be protecting your business, including your business model and your market. So if that has changed significantly and your patent portfolio hasn't kept up, you may find that you're exposed and your competitors may be able to come in and to damage your ability to sell to your customers, to maintain your market, and to have a strong business model. Technological zombies. Technology marches ever on. And if your patents are very specific and they're general enough to cover a technological concept, then you could have a technological zombie, maybe a patent that no longer covers a technology that you can really use and is too narrow to be useful for other concepts. Legal zombies. These are a big problem. So these occur when the laws in one country change significantly to the extent that your patents may no longer be as valuable. So one example is a company called Myriad. They had a lot of patents to very specific genetic sequences for mutations known as the BRCA mutations, which are very problematic for breast and also ovarian cancer. And they had a lot of patents on these mutations, on these short genetic sequences, and they used it to defend their diagnostic business. Well, then the US Supreme Court said, well, you know, these short naturally occurring sequences, these genetic sequences that are naturally occurring, we don't think they're patentable. So all of a sudden, with one fell swoop, all those patents were invalidated. So it is really important to think about how the laws in each country in which you filed a patent have changed, and they can change quite significantly in different countries. So US laws for allowing patents to be granted and also patent enforcement are very different for those in Europe. They're very different for those in China and so forth. So you have to keep up with the changes in those countries where you have patents to make certain those patents are still valuable and that you still want to file there in the future. Finally, geographical zombies. Some of these can occur from legal zombies, so sometimes they can occur because there may be a big geographical shift. Maybe someone was manufacturing in one country and many competitors went to that country to manufacture, and then suddenly no one's manufacturing there for whatever reasons. It could be political instability, it could be supply chain problems, it could be fights between different countries, tariff, non-tariff barriers. The point is, a geographical zombie can be a huge problem. It can also be a problem when a market you were selling into in one country may be evaporating. Maybe the patent there is no longer valuable, so you have to think about that. But I want to leave you all with zombies and things changing and problems that we do have to face, which I agree, they are very real. We do have to deal with them. But I also truly believe that we can now look forward to a brighter future together. With integrated technology and markets, how can you bring your technology and markets together to better serve your customers, to be able to sell better products, and to really anticipate your customers' needs in the next 5 to 10 years, and then also for your patents to be able to protect that? New ways to serve your customers, maybe new business models or new markets, new geographies. It's a really exciting time to think about all the things we can do now that are new. We have a lot of opportunities, and I hope that you think of new ways to serve customers that you could then also protect with your patents so that your competitors won't say, oh, that's a great idea, let me borrow that idea. Blocking your competitors. So we don't want them borrowing your ideas, right? And as I said before, patents are a right to exclude, they're a right to block. So you want to be able to block your competitors. You want to understand what you think their future choices are. Where do you think they're going in the next 5 to 10 years? Where will they be manufacturing? Where will they be selling? What will they be selling? What will their business model and market look like? And how can you stop them from achieving that at your expense, giving you a competitive advantage? Also, de-risking and upscaling. Yes, patents are about de-risking. They can also be a defense in certain circumstances, but also upscaling. Why not grow your business? Why not use it like Akamai as a way to compete and also to change and evolve your business? All of these wonderful things can and should be supported by your patent portfolio. Thank you so much. Please get in touch, Devora.Graeser@KISSPatent.com. Thank you.